Order, and I will make an attempt at leading us all in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh. Hey, Sue's back.
I'm back. Can you hear me now?
I hear you too. Yes.
Oh, yay.
Great. Awesome.
Back to the old
Roll
trusty
call, please,
iPad.
Diane.
I got it.
Ken Anderson.
Dan Anderson, you're on mute.
Aye.
Sue Filick.
Here.
Bill Grabaric.
Here.
Chris Mondi.
Here.
Pat Schuberg.
Here.
Matt Wilson.
Here.
Jeff Walter.
Here. All right. Right here, along with all the department heads appear to be here. And we've got one guest tonight. Jake from the Chronicle has joined us. So, and Julie's here as well. Yeah, everybody's here. All right. Public comments, awards, and presentations. I have one public comment for tonight. It's an email received from Judy, Judie, Childress, Childress. I will read the email. It says, "Good evening, board members. The topic of a boundary agreement with the Village of Sugar Grove was last addressed at the October 5th, 2020 board meeting. A member of the public asked the status of the boundary agreement, and Village President Jeff Walter responded now that the updated comprehensive plan had been approved, boundary negotiations could begin per the meeting minutes. Since that time, more than 6 weeks ago, there has not been any mention of a boundary agreement with Sugar Grove on any meeting agenda or in any meeting minutes, board or committee of the whole. As the submission dates for candidate documents are fast approaching, last date for submission in Elburn is November 23rd per the village website. For anyone interested in being a trustee or village president, and this is the type of issue that could spur members of the public into running for public office, I respectfully ask for an update in regards to the boundary agreement. What is the current status of the boundary agreement negotiations with Sugar Grove? I respectfully ask for any details that would not cause issues in the negotiation process. If there has not been any discussion with Sugar Grove, why not? The residents of the local communities, Elburn, Sugar Grove, Blackberry Township, Caneville, and others, have clearly voiced their concern and disapproval of the warehouse development proposed by the landowner nearly 2 years ago, as these residents value the quality of life provided in our area. Getting a boundary agreement in place is one of the first steps in assuring what's best for all communities and their residents. As I watch a large developer in Will County manipulate communities and pit one against another to get the best deal for themselves, causing more devastation and financial hardship for these communities and the residents, I fear that Crown Development will try to do the same for our area. I hope that all of you recognize our community's benefits the most when we work together for what is best for all residents of the area. I ask that the boundary agreement with Sugar Grove be included on the next board and COW agendas for review and discussion among board members, and clear information on the status be provided regularly to the public during meetings. Thank you for your time and consideration, Judy Childress." And I don't have an address, Diane, so I do not know if this person is a village resident, although I don't believe she is. The only comment I would have back to this is that on the next COW meeting, John, is that when you and I decided to put it on there for the next COW?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was going to be mentioned tonight. Everyone needs to kind of give some thought to where they feel a boundary agreement, what it would look like. That will be on the discussion item will be on the next COW agenda, and we'll come up with a consensus to take back to Sugar Grove to get the negotiations started again. They didn't like some of our first ideas we threw at them, so we're going to get the whole board's ideas together, put it all together, and don't be narrow focused on just a road. Think about other things. John and I have had many conversations about, that intersection being, the new exchange being certainly a tax generator. So does our agreement with Sugar Grove look like a road to the north and then some sharing of the property and sales taxes from that exchange, or does it go to the all the way down to 88? Or so kind of mull those ideas over. And that will be on the next cow agenda. I did not have any, does anyone else have any comments on that? Any of the board members? No? Okay. I didn't have any other public comment. I have no awards and presentations, so I need a motion then to approve the omnibus agenda, which for tonight includes the village board minutes of October 19th.
I'll move it.
Moved by trustee Schuberg, second.
I'll second.
Second by trustee Filick. Roll call vote, please.
Ken Anderson,
Aye.
Sue Filick,
Aye.
Bill Grabaric,
Aye.
Chris Mondi.
Aye.
Pat Schuberg,
Aye.
Matt Wilson.
Aye.
Motion carries. Under mayor tonight, the only thing I really had was to talk about getting started on the agreement with Sugar Grove, and we've covered that, so I'm not going to reiterate all that. So we'll go on to village attorney, Bill.
No report.
Village clerk, Diane.
Yes, today was the first day of the primary filing for election petitions. The last date for filing of primary petitions of the primary filing period is next Monday, November 23rd. Now, we've never received any petitions during a primary filing. We've always received all of our petitions during the consolidated election filing period, which begins on Monday, December 14th and concludes on Monday, December 21st. And there were no petitions received this morning during the first filing period for the primary.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Diane? Did you have anything else, Diane?
Nope, that's it.
All right, thank you. Julie, village engineer.
The only report I have is Anderson Kesslinger. They did a little bit of bike path work that had to be done to connect the bike path to the new sidewalk on the south side of Kesslinger. That was done today. Tomorrow they'll be spreading topsoil, and then Wednesday and Thursday they'll be striping. So that pretty much leaves the traffic signal work remaining. Unfortunately, the subconsultant for that, their company's been hit pretty hard with COVID. They're on the skeleton crew right now. And in about 2 weeks' time, they will come back to me with a schedule for when that work will be done. So, but that's
Can
all
we
I have.
open on the temporary lights, or do we have to wait for the full blown, all the signals to go in?
I think what we'll do is we'll make a decision if we're going to get on the temporary lights this year based on the subconsultants. So for the next 2 weeks, it will remain closed because we won't open it. If we know we can get on permanent signals this year, we'll probably leave it closed until the permanent signals are up and running. But I'll report back when I get a better schedule for them. I'll report back on that.
Okay, all right. Any questions for Julie? All right, we'll move on to administration. John?
The only thing I have tonight on the agenda is discuss and approve the resolution 2020-18 salary and wage adjustments. That was something that the board had discussed, and we've put it into a resolution for your consideration.
Do I have a motion then to approve resolution 2020-18 salary and wage adjustments?
I'll make the motion.
Moved by trustee Wilson. Was that you, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay, second?
Second.
Second by trustee Mondi. Any discussion on resolution 2020-18? There's no discussion. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Ken Anderson,
Aye.
Sue Filick,
Aye.
Bill Grabaric,
Aye.
Chris Mondi.
Aye.
Pat Schuberg,
Aye.
Matt Wilson.
Aye.
Motion carries. John, you want to talk a little bit about why we're all on Zoom, COVID at Village Hall, and why that's closed up again, and so on, and just kind of give everybody, I know there's been a lot of emails about it, but since we're all together, we could probably just hear it all.
Sure. Just given the pervasiveness of COVID and it's all coming back again, and we really can't afford to take a hit to the folks that can't work remotely. And so it was thought that it would be best to close down Village Hall and Public Works to public traffic. We're still fully open, still functional. We are, handling all the paperwork, all the incoming traffic, either via email, telephone calls, dropping stuff off in the outer vestibule out at Village Hall. And so to use a well-worn phrase that we've all come accustomed to, out of an abundance of caution, we have decided to just close Village Hall to foot traffic. Hopefully within the next 3 weeks, we will be able to open up again. I've talked to each of the department heads to get them to, anybody that can work remotely, to get them to work remotely, to get them out of the office and conduct all their business from home or from a different location. Obviously, we've got some positions that they can't do that. And where they can't, we're trying to keep them separated and practice good hygiene.
And we're doing the Zoom meetings for the board and all the other commissions and boards. We'll kind of play it by ear. We'll see where the numbers go. Our positivity rate went from below 5%, pretty steady every day, to almost 8% over the last few weeks. So I don't think there's any question that the COVID is spreading around in the second wave. So it was just best that we all aren't in the same room. And I think the new guidance came out today, no more than 10 people or some such thing. But so we'll stay on Zoom for a while and kind of watch the numbers and see how this goes. And then John and I will talk and we'll try to figure out the best time to bring us all back together again. All right, anything else, John?
The only other thing I was going to add, it's not specific to Sugar Grove boundary agreement, but one of the other things that we'll be talking about is where do our borders go? North, east, west, south? How big do we want Elburn to get? That will be something that will be coming up in that cow. So don't think just to the south, think east, west, north. And one of the reasons why that's so important right now is that, we've got Lennar coming in. They should start moving dirt in the spring. I've been talking with a guy that's very interested in the northwest corner of 38 and 47. And really where this comes down to is how big does that infrastructure have to be? Are we going to go further north? Are we going to go further west? And so when I start to talk to people that are interested in this property out here, we need to have an idea on where that boundary is going to be. And I know that, we've talked about the Emerald Necklace. We just had that in front of us at the last meeting as far as that county rezoning request out on Pooley Road and how that, doesn't fit into our comprehensive plan. So if we start to grow out that area, what does the infrastructure look like? How big do the sewer pipes going to have to be? How big are the water pipes going to have to be? So staff is going to need to have some sort of a framework to work off of. And the board's going to have to provide us with direction as far as, what realistically are our boundaries? If you remember about 6-7 years ago, we looked at our FPA when we did the wastewater treatment plant expansion. And the FPA is huge. I don't think any of us on this call are going to be alive when that ever gets all built out. And it was really overly optimistic, which was fine because it gave us a planning tool to see how far we can go out. But as we start to see some serious growth again, we need to know what the board thinks we're going to look like. So that is going to be part of the conversation at the next cow. So if you could just, think about some ideas, look at the maps, and we'll be asking a lot of questions then. So that's all I've got.
Okay, anything for John? Tom, building and zoning?
No report.
All righty, anything for Tom? Doug, finance?
You've got in your packet the October Treasurers Report and Revenue and Expenditure Report. So October is the 6th month of the fiscal year, so we're at the 50% mark. I've mentioned it a few times, but our interest rates on our investments have declined between 80 and 90%. So our interest revenue in this current fiscal year is still going to be healthy because the CDs that are maturing are at the 2.5, 2.6, 2.7% rate. What they're getting renewed at is 0.1 and 0.2. And so where we'll take the hit will be in the next fiscal year when those CDs come to term. So our current practice is to go with shorter term CDs in the hopes that the economy is going to show some improvement rather than go three years at a low rate. The thinking is to go 1 year at a low rate, and perhaps the rates will pick up after the initial year, and then we'll take advantage of the higher rates. Now, that may or may not pan out that way, but that's the current thinking. So at the experience we're looking at right now, we're probably going to take $140,000, $145,000, $150,000 hit in interest revenue in our next fiscal year. So I just want you to hear that now, so that when the time comes, you say, why didn't you tell us about this? Well, it is. We're going to take a hit in interest revenue.
I'm sorry, what was the dollar figure you threw out, Doug? I didn't quite catch that.
Somewhere between $140,000 and $150,000.
Okay, thank you.
Building permit revenue is down 36%, but it's showing some growth here. So it's still below where we've been at, but it's showing growth over what it was earlier in the fiscal year. We've got other revenue sources that are down. Overweight permit fees are down because there's less building, and when there's less building, there's less hauling overweight trucks over our roads, and so that revenue goes down. Court vehicle fees are down, and the courts are pretty slow right now, and so any revenue that's we've gotten in the past from the court, that's quite a bit less than what we were counting on. So there are parts of the budget where the revenue is holding in there, so that's a good thing. Property taxes seem to be holding their strength, so that's a good thing. Income taxes really are staying right in there, so that's a good thing. So those are my comments on the financials for October. Are there any questions? Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Just one quick question, Doug. Our insurance seems to be, are we paid for the year? Is that why it's running over 100%?
Yes.
Okay.
The property liability and workers' comp insurance is an annual premium, and we've paid that for the year.
Yep.
And it was in some departments it was higher than what we expected. So the mix between departments changed a little bit from what it had been in years past.
All right, I just want to point out to the board that we'll be coming into budget season here very soon. It's November, so I'm sure Doug will be presenting us with the schedules. The department heads may already be working on their budgets. We're currently sitting at month end about 1.8, 1.7 million ahead of last year. And I know we didn't spend very much at the beginning of the year when COVID kind of hit us in March, April, May, and we may chew up some of that difference. But I'm encouraging the board and the department heads to really take a look at next fiscal year. what our road projects look like. We haven't done a lot of major road work. I know there's some major work Phil's planning for next year, and other projects that we need to get done and get some of this taxpayer money back out to the taxpayers. So just keep that in mind as we get into budget season. We'll hear from the department heads. I'm not sure what the schedule is, but I know it starts soon. So keep those things in mind as we move forward. All right, anybody have anything for Doug? If not, Chief, Police Department.
Okay, got a few things on here. The first thing is the discussion on the ordinance to amend our section 444.1 of the traffic code. That is all of our stop and yield signs and traffic control signs. We went through with the expectation of the Anderson Road connection going through. What prompted this was looking at how that was going to affect traffic patterns in front of Blackberry Creek Elementary. The signs for stopping at Patty and Anderson, which Patty stopped and northbound Anderson stopped, but southbound Anderson did not stop, did not seem to be the smart thing for that intersection at that location, with there also being a school crosswalk at that location. So we began looking at this and decided we would review the whole ordinance. Village Administrator Nevenhoven and I had talked about this the last time and decided that we needed to do this as we looked at each of our ordinances. So that's why you'll see a lot of changes in here. I do want to say the very first change that I put on here, I reversed the street names in. So as we look at this for number 182, I reversed the Patty and Anderson Road. So we need to make that adjustment before any approval would be made. But there is also a support letter from EEI for that stop location at Anderson and Patty to become a three-way stop, which it's a three-way intersection. I don't know that that memo made it in everybody's packet. I did email it back out again this evening before the meeting. So hopefully you can see that. But on page 3 of their memo, the last line after all their different bullet points says, this intersection does appear to be a good candidate for stop sign based on the above criteria, which was everything that they listed in conjunction with the pedestrian vehicle traffic and the school location. Along with that, you'll see in the attached memo, many locations where we went through and updated missing information and made some adjustments. We had locations where we were supposed to have stop or yield signs where they haven't existed and haven't existed in the memory of even like DC Schlachter, who's been here over 20 years, can't remember some of these locations ever having had a sign. So it's not a case where something had been put up and knocked down and not replaced. Probably something that just was never put up when the ordinance was created or had been thought of, placed in the ordinance, and then never acted on. So there are many changes. Hopefully you had a chance to review those for all the areas. We did add in, use some in the existing ordinance where there were a lot of reserved notes. We tried to put in street names that were close in the list to where those other ones were, so we didn't create more numbers than we needed to. And if you look down like at number 112 and 114, it was a duplicate. We had the same location, same direction of travel listed 2 times. So we changed one of those to add a missing one in the area, and then added all the additional stop signs that we did not have an ordinance. A lot of these came from Elburn Station, which were reviewed as part of the development plan, but were never put into ordinance. So we've added those in. As I said, that number 182 on the stop sign list should actually read northbound and southbound Anderson at Patty. So those were reversed. And then we also looked at some yield sign locations where we had sign locations listed, but none exist. And a couple where we had a sign at one intersection, but not at another. And it didn't make sense because they were 2 streets right next to each other. So we did look at removing a couple of those as well. So hopefully that's not too much, but if anybody has any questions, be more than happy to try to answer those or review anything on that.
Let me see if I can get a motion first here, Chief. So the motion will have to be to approve 2020-34, amending section 441-1 with the correction to line 182, north and southbound Anderson at Patty Road. Do I have a motion to approve? Do I have a motion to approve? ordinance
I'll move it.
2020 Oh, who was that? Sorry.
I'll make the motion. I was on mute.
Okay, motion by trustee Schuberg, second.
I'll second.
Second by trustee Wilson. Is that you, Matt?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I can't look up fast enough sometimes. All right, so any discussion on the stop signs and yield signs? If there's no discussion, roll call vote, please.
Ken Anderson,
Aye.
Sue Feilich,
Aye.
Bill Grabaric,
Aye.
Chris Mondi,
Aye.
Pat Schuberg,
Aye.
Matt Wilson.
Aye.
So the motion carries. So Chief, if you'll make that adjustment, and then
Okay.
Diane and I can sign it after that.
All right, we'll get that taken care of. The next item is in regards to 460.1. And this is in regards to the speed limit, again, related to the Anderson Road connection. This is to adjust the speed limit in between our 45-mile-an-hour Anderson Road that we now have north of Kesslinger and the 25-mile-an-hour limit that exists south of Kesslinger. And Illinois statute allows local municipalities to adjust speed limits, but we have to do it in a 10-mile-an-hour increment. So as that road connection is made, we want to make sure that we comply with that speed zone change. In particular, for anybody coming southbound Anderson Road as they cross Kesslinger, that we can make an enforceable 25-mile-an-hour speed limit in that area that exists in our residential and as we get down into the school area.
All right, do I have a motion then to approve ordinance 2020-35, amending section 460.1 of the traffic code?
I'll move it.
All right, moved by trustee Grabaric, second by trustee Feilich. Any discussion on 2020-35 and the new speed limit? Wish we could do it on Route 38, but unfortunately we can't. If there's no discussion, then roll call vote, please.
Ken Anderson,
Aye.
Sue Feilich,
Aye.
Bill Grabaric,
Aye.
Chris Mondi,
Aye.
Pat Schuberg,
Aye.
Matt Wilson.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, Chief.
Okay, the next item is to request the purchase of a replacement vehicle. This is vehicle, the 2005 GMC Envoy, which we obtained title to. This was the bank robbery getaway vehicle from a couple of years ago, which we had a seizure notice on and have had in use in our fleet as our detective vehicle for the last few years. Unfortunately, the vehicle has really become a maintenance problem over the course of the last 6 months or so. And it is really not worth the repairs that are required of it. Just a couple of things that we have. The gauges are not always functional, so we don't always have a speedometer or any of the associated oil pressure temperature gauges working in it, which makes it a little tricky driving it. The air conditioning has gone out for the now third time. It was repaired twice already and trying to make it last, and it's just simply gone out completely. The brake system is now in need of some significant repairs, including probably a new master cylinder and the 4 tires, although I would normally consider that just regular maintenance. As you add it into the rest of the thing, it is in need of 4 new tires as well. So the value of the vehicle, according to Kelly Blue Book, is about $1,200. And we're looking at about $1,800 in repairs right now from the estimates we've gotten, along with an additional $500 to $600 probably for 4 new tires for the vehicle. So we have found a need for this. And as we continue to grow and get busier, I know I've talked a little bit about some of our investigation load is creeping up a little bit. It is definitely beneficial to have an unmarked detective vehicle to be able to go out and do investigations in, for the detective to drive, and especially if we have to do any type of surveillance or work outside of the village. So the money that I'm requesting in the memo is money that is currently in the budget. We had $30,250 remaining that had been budgeted for the purchase of a CSO pickup truck, which we did not approve. And although we are going to be seriously looking at that potentially again for next fiscal year, I am requesting to take $10,000 of this to put towards the purchase of a used vehicle. I actually have had some conversation with Bob Josh Chevrolet. They have assured me they could get us something in what we were looking for at that price point. So we would be able to also buy in town. I have already found several vehicles outside of town, just listed, looking at various vendors and online listings. But obviously, if we can buy in town, we'd certainly like to do that. And they have assured me they would be able to help fulfill that need for us if this were to be approved.
All right, then, do I have a motion to approve the purchase of a replacement vehicle in the amount not to exceed $10,000?
I'll move it.
Moved by trustee Schuberg, second.
I'll second.
Second by trustee Feilich. Any discussion on the replacement vehicle?
Yeah, I just had one question for the chief. This is Matt.
Yes.
Is that going to be enough money for you, chief, to have this vehicle properly upfitted?
Yes, we actually, we have a credit on file with Vito Enterprises in Sycamore. And we have equipment in the current vehicle which could be transferred. So although a couple of the items might need to be updated, it's not a lot of equipment that we put in that. We just meet some minimum criteria. And we'll use money off of that credit memo that we have to pay for any of those associated costs. So there would not be any additional costs for that.
Do we really think $10,000 is
I
enough?
just wanted to make sure you were covered.
You broke up, Matt. What'd you say?
Yeah, I was just wanting to make sure the chief wasn't shorting himself, that was going to be enough to have the vehicle set up correctly.
Yeah, that was my question.
Yeah, I do believe it's enough. And like I said, I've found a number of vehicles that are available that appear to be a quality used vehicle in that price range. You know, we're not looking for anything spectacular for this vehicle. We want it to be a normal vehicle. We want it to fit in. We don't want it to stick out. And as I said, I met with Dan Schwebke at Bob Josh Chevrolet, and he has assured me they can find us a good quality vehicle of some type that we're looking for and deliver it to us for $10,000 out the door or less.
Okay, any other questions? Roll call vote, please, Diane.
Ken Anderson,
Aye.
Sue Feilich,
Aye.
Bill Grabaric,
Aye.
Chris Mondi.
Aye.
Pat Schuberg,
Aye.
Matt Wilson.
Aye.
Motion carries. And I guess now you want to sell the old one.
So now we would like, now that you've given approval to purchase something, we would like to get rid of this one. And for the disposal of the vehicle, we could either sell at auction or potentially use it as a trade-in if the dealership is willing to give us anything towards the trade-in value of it, which could lessen that purchase value perhaps a little bit.
All right, do I have a motion then to approve ordinance 2020-36 for the disposal of personal property, the vehicle we've been discussing, the Trailblazer?
I'll move it.
Moved by trustee Grabaric, second.
I'll second.
Second by trustee Schuberg. Any discussion on the disposal? Roll call vote, please.
Ken Anderson,
Aye.
Sue Feilich,
Aye.
Bill Grabaric,
Aye.
Chris Mondi,
Aye.
Pat Schuberg,
Aye.
Matt Wilson.
Aye.
Motion carries. Anything else, chief?
Just a quick note, the police commission will be meeting on Thursday evening to review backgrounds, and hopefully we'll have 2 that could be moved to a conditional job offer for the 2 vacant full-time positions.
Excellent. Anybody have anything for the chief? All right, if not, we'll move on to Phil, Public Works.
Just a couple of things. Geneva Construction was out today and they paved the remainder of the cold storage area. It turned out the way it sounds, it turned out very nice. So that's done. Other than that, not too much going on. They did put a new scale in out at well 5 for the chlorine tank, and they've been getting the trucks ready with the spreaders and going through them pretty good, getting them ready for that dirty word snow.
Trees, snow, all kinds of 4-letter words, huh?
Yes, yeah, so.
Anybody
than
have
that-
anything for Phil? No, all right. Anything else, Phil? That was it?
That's it for tonight.
All right, Bill, the bills list.
Mayor, I reviewed the bills list for this date and found the list to be in order. We have a couple of biggies, which is our dispatch out of Geneva at 26,000. And the big one at 94,000 plus for the Elburn Station park equipment. So those are the two majors. We got, our engineering's going up because of all the work we're doing. And our WRT runs almost 10 grand a month regardless. Consequently, with those comments, I would move to approve said bills list in the amount of $210,857.16.
Motion by trustee Grabaric. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Schuberg. Any discussion on the bills list?
I had a quick question. I noticed that we have additional charge from Clayson's janitorial service. Is this additional work from what we pay? Thought Clayson's we pay in advance once a year, and is this additional maintenance that they're doing?
Doug, would you like to answer that? Unmute.
Oh, you're on mute.
You're on mute, Doug.
Unmute, Doug.
Doug, you're on mute. We did not hear you. You're on mute. Wait, can you unmute him, John?
I can ask him to unmute. Let me find him on the list here.
How's that?
There he is.
There you go.
In previous years, we paid them once a year for the entire year.
Yeah.
We're not doing that this year. We're paying them on a monthly basis. So I think that answers your question.
Yes, it does.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions on the bills list? Roll call vote, please.
Ken Anderson,
Aye.
Sue Filick,
Aye.
Bill Grabaric,
Aye.
Chris Mondi,
Aye.
Pat Schuberg,
Aye.
Matt Wilson.
Aye.
Motion carries. Any other business to come before the board? If not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion to adjourn.
Moved by trustee Mondi, second.
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Grabaric. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? We're adjourned. We'll call the committee of the whole to order at 7:44. And roll call, please.
Ken Anderson,
Here.
Sue Filick,
Here.
Bill Grabaric,
Here.
Chris Mondi,
Here.
Pat Schuberg,
Here.
Matt Wilson,
Here.
Jeff Walter.
Here. The only public comment we had was for the board meeting, so we have none for the committee of the whole. So we have 2 items for discussion. I think they both fall under admin.
They do. I'm just double checking to make sure we haven't gotten any more emails while we've been at the village board meeting, and we do not have any.
All right, thank you, sir.
So about a month ago, we started talking about a new sign out in front of Village Hall. And that also led to a discussion about the downtown sign ordinance and the sign ordinance in general. And so the planning commission was asked, they were presented with some options, and they had some of their own. And so what you have in front of you is a red line of the sign ordinance. And there's a couple of sections in there, starting with section 1.4, paragraph A, off-site signs. That is for any sign that's not on a business's or an organization's property. And so we know of at least one incident where that does happen. And so what we wanted to do was add language in there, except for nonprofit organizations that are in good standing and have a principal place of business located in the village. We thought that that would be the best way to address that issue. Trailer mounted and wheel mounted signs, except for once again, same language, nonprofit organizations in good standing in the village. And then paragraph H, delete other legislation and replace that with Village Board of Trustees. We're not really sure what the legislation would have been when sign ordinance falls under your purview. Going through section 1.5, delete and LED tubes are prohibited. We think that was an old technology. I can't even tell you what a LED tube is. I know what LED lights are, but I'm not sure about tubes. And then moving on to the downtown sign district, we want to remove the maximum of 3 colors and 2 materials in a sign. We've had a couple of instances where corporate business, a national chain, have wanted to come in and they've had to go through the sign ordinance process to get a variance to have more than 3 colors or 2 different materials. We don't think that that's going to have a very impact on the look and feel of downtown, so we would recommend making that change. And then probably the biggest one is redraw the downtown Elburn sign district, essentially removing the area east of First Street. There is a map that was included in the packet, and I used my very best crayons to draw that. So if you have any questions on the exact location, my intent was to keep anything that was west of First Street that was a business or could potentially be converted into a business. It stayed in. There's like our parking lots, the parking lot for Schmitz, those sort of things. So if you have any questions, comments, we'd love to hear them.
John, I had a question. As I was interested when I was reading the definitions in 1.4. And when you're talking about nonprofits who has a principal place of business, is the intent to think about a nonprofit who has a physical place of business or a common meeting place? Specifically, I'm thinking about, the Scouts or the baseball group or other nonprofits who don't have they have a place that they always meet, but they don't have a business office.
It was our intent to try to cover nonprofits generally that would either meet in Elburn, would have some sort of a physical presence in Elburn, trying to be specific enough, but still keep it rather broad so that we would include Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, baseball, football teams, lacrosse, soccer,
Okay.
something along those lines. So we're trying to be broad enough, but specific so that it was Elburn.
Okay, so we're not limited by a physical location.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Oh, I have one other question as I was saying about this. It just occurred to me as I was reading through this, is a national signature of a color building considered a sign? And that's probably a philosophical question. It made me think about the old Napa building. Napa has the blue color is their almost like their signature logo. You always see Napa as that blue. And when a building comes into town or a business comes into town and they paint their building the color of their national identity, is that considered a sign?
I am going to punt on this one and ask Mr. Brennan to weigh in. So Tom, I'm going to put you on the hot seat.
Okay. And if you remember, like from the 70s and the 80s, McDonald's is a good example of that, with the mansard roof and the red painted shingles and the golden arches.
Yes.
Things like that. Napa was also that way too, where they would incorporate that blue and that gold kind of logo that they have. And we saw that when it was downtown. They've since repainted that to get out of that brand name color. Now that and they were there long before the downtown sign district was established. Now that we have that downtown sign district, and more importantly, now that it's more defined, like it's Main Street and it's west on North Street, we have more control over those kind of things.
So, and my question is not specific about Napa, but thinking in terms of if in the future another business wanted to come to town and let's say they were the People Purple Eater business and they wanted to paint a building purple, would that be considered a sign?
No, that would be a facade, not a sign. A sign advertises a brand or a message.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? Is everybody okay with consent on this one, or do we want to see it come back to a board meeting for a vote? Anyone have a preference, comments?
I'm okay with consent for me.
Yeah, I think consent is fine.
Okay. Matt, yeah, I saw your head. Ken, yeah.
Yeah,
Chris?
I'm not sure on
Bill?
consent. I'm not totally sure on consent. But I'm just looking at, the areas that were cut out or deleted from the proposed boundaries, and I don't know.
Well, it's fine. We can bring it back to vote on, Bill, but if you've got concern about what was cut out, let's talk about that now and try to resolve it for you.
Yeah.
What's your concern?
Well, we cut out everything west of 47 between, what is that, Shannon, no, Pierce and,
Yeah, the railroad tracks pretty much.
I know we took out the libraries there, of course, the village hall, the Pioneer Park and all that, but I'm just thinking of the older houses on that side, actually all the way over to First. I mean, some of these eventually might be considered for either a little boutique or restaurant or whatever. I don't know, but I'm just saying, are we cutting off possibilities by saying, it's outside the district? And
Should we leave First Street, everything on the west side of First Street in? Is that what you're suggesting?
basically, I'm saying that, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that one. I think you're right. If those houses turn into some sort of businesses and First Street kind of develops into a walking restaurant shop area, then they'll have free reign on signs. So I think I would agree with you, Bill. Anybody else have thoughts on?
Yeah, Bill, that's actually a really good point, looking at this, that little strip.
Well, I think you should go to the east side of First Street. Because then First Street looks the same as you drive down.
Oh, that makes sense.
Good point.
You know, one thing that I was thinking about before, as far as, because we were concerned about being able to have a moving board, moving message board. Is there a way that it could be, to me, the logic of the type of businesses or whatnot would need that would be municipal buildings. Correct?
Yeah, and well, we've got one at Reams. I think they're-
Right, but they had, that was
they got a waiver for that, right?
right.
Construction, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I don't know. Well, you never know. I mean,
Because my thoughts are like, we've got, I guess people could say, oh, gee, lucky where my business is now. Like I was thinking of Hera Plumbing and those kinds of businesses. Although my biggest concern was that the heart of downtown kept the character, which I think in many communities you see that, and then you go to other communities where they have that area that is not allowed that type of promoting advertising. I don't know. My thought before I looked at this was just thinking, municipal buildings need this. And then my thought would be wherever those message boards are in those municipal buildings, groups and organizations like the Scouts could use those message boards to get their messages out there.
right. So you're okay with the area that we've got cutting out other than First Street, like for Village Hall and the library? I would think.
Well, I am, because I'm thinking that those, like the library and those buildings are there. So, and I guess I'm a little bit confused. I want to say yes, but then I kind of think like, well, then is every business going to be going, yay, I want a message board? I don't know. Know what I mean? Does it make sense? I have a little bit of concern.
Yeah. So would you propose what then? Just leaving the district the same and cutting out municipal buildings instead?
I guess. I mean, before we never wanted this. And now this has come up because of what we'd like to do. In a sense. Right? My thoughts are, and I think that the library would be a great place to be able to have what they've got going on. I think about the benefit of these type boards. Not everybody's on Facebook, where so many places have a page or to get, their messages out there. So I see their benefit for a lot of older folks who are driving around and want to know what's going on without, using the internet and things like that to find out what's going on that month. So that was kind of my thought before I saw this mapped out. So I'm a little bit up in the air. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. Because I think of other places that are in there. And, maybe they'll be like, well, I don't need a message board, but what if everybody decided to have one? Is that too much? Should we care?
I don't think it's a worry on North Street, but when you get up to Shannon, you got all those houses there. If some of them start to become businesses, and then you got a house and a big old sign and, flashing whatever.
Right.
Right. It's a good point. It's a very good point.
So maybe that is, and it said, like Bill first pointed out, maybe First Street should be out of there completely, east and west side.
Okay, does anybody have any issue with removing First Street, east and west, and leaving that in the downtown area? All right, John, can you make that change?
Yeah, I can. Just keep in mind that between Shannon and Pierce, The east side of First Street is not currently in the district. So do you want to include those houses or just leave that border as it is? And then take out everything on the properties that front First Street. So basically, you've got two houses between
Right.
Shannon and Pierce that are not in on First Street. On the
As
east
far as
side,
the downtown district,
yes.
yeah, so maybe we should leave those. Wait a minute, are you talking about the existing boundary? Chad?
Yes, the
And the
existing
existing
boundary.
boundary doesn't count, doesn't take in the east side of First Street north of Shannon. Those couple properties right there.
Okay, it looks like it does on this, what I have here. Does that make sense?
It does between North and Shannon, but once you get to Shannon, between Shannon and Pierce on First Street.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
There's a little.
I'm
it
looking at
jogs
this
there, yeah.
differently.
And remember, this is the downtown district, right? That's what this is all
Yes.
about. So it's, you know,
Well,
I think since this was originally drawn out, things have changed, right? I think the original intent was North Street was going to become more of a commercial and municipal drive kind of a thing with us and the town, the library and public works maybe, you know, and all that, but that's kind of changed. But I don't know. What does the rest of the board think about?
we've got Angie's Closet or whatever, Angie's Attic now on that corner of Pierce and Main.
Yeah,
you
well,
know,
Main
the-
Street doesn't come out of this. I mean, that's Main Street stays in.
Right. And I still think their character is, you know, what we always kind of pictured for downtown.
Mhm.
So they wouldn't apply to this. So I guess my thoughts would be, oh my goodness. I mean, yeah, basically that east and west side. What are anybody else's thoughts on those houses up there?
I don't think the east side of First Street north of Shannon will ever become a downtown. You know, if anything, it's going to cluster around North Street. and
Agreed.
behind, you know, the ones directly behind Main Street. that
Right.
Have the opportunity for development. But I don't think
Right.
that crossing First Street, I don't think it's going to ever go that way. Personally, that's my thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think like, oh gosh. This is where I hate being on Zoom. I'm gonna have to have like this. Can you see this? That block. Am I pointing it right? I don't think, like this block right here may have future development of downtown. I could see that, but nothing over here on this side
Right.
of the street, correct? Is that what you were pointing out, Jeff?
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think that's what John was pointing out as well. If we go back to
Okay.
First Street, we'll just leave it as it was. and
got
just
it.
Cut off at First Street, except
Yeah,
for.
here, let me show you something here. I'm gonna try to share my screen, so bear with me.
Okay,
See if this works. Can you see that?
It's, yes, we can.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
beautiful.
So that is, you know, First and North, and unfortunately, Street View doesn't go any further north. But, you know, you've got these brand new duplexes. This house, at some point, talking with Mr. Schmidt, is probably gonna come down and end up with two more of these.
Okay,
Then you've got this house, which is apartments, and the gray house over here on that corner of Shannon and First is also, I believe, apartments. So then you've got the White House over
right.
here that's next to the church parking lot. And then, you know, going on up to Pierce, and I don't know if I can get a much better view of what that may look like. And that's about the best we're gonna get. So, you know, we've got two large houses right here that, you know, could potentially be turned into business. But then the houses up on this block up here on the east side of First between Shannon and Pierce have driveways off of Shannon and Pierce and not onto First Street. I believe right now,
Right.
these two houses are in, as is Harrah's. But then once you get up to this sidewalk, you know, the district comes out and then cuts over on Pierce and goes up a little bit further north. Does that
Okay.
help?
Yep, that does, John. Thank you.
Okay, let me see if I can get out of this. Maybe. Nope, that's not it. Come on. I know you're in there somewhere. There we go.
That's where the old
All right.
grain mill was, right on that corner, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So, and then I guess the other thing too is on South First Street, just south of the tracks. There's two houses that are right, you know, the one that's adjacent to the tracks, it's been for sale numerous times.
Forever.
Right,
Forever.
and then that one on the corner as well. Do you want to keep those in?
Yeah, personally, I would think so because they back up to 47, have that same possibility of what you might see.
Sure, that whole block,
Yeah.
yeah.
or, you know, you could see that, yeah.
And the old station master's house was right on the corner there of First and Pierce, or Nebraska, supposedly. And that's something,
Oh,
until we can get in the recorder's office again, because everything is shut down with this whole virus thing, to do some research, we're kind of screwed with trying to identify the historical structures around here.
All right, so as far as this discussion and moving the line back, I think we're just talking about that hashed out section, John, on First Street.
Yeah,
And then from the tracks to Shannon, the east side of First Street stays in, at least those properties.
yeah,
yeah,
And then the rest can be cut out. Does that sound right to everybody?
yeah.
yes.
Okay, so just to make sure I understand, first side of east, I'm sorry, the east side of First Street, with the exception of the two houses that front onto First Street. They would be just north of Harris.
I think those,
You
yeah,
want
those,
those to stay in?
Those
yeah,
can
those
stay in.
Harris
Okay.
property and those other two stay in,
Okay,
as does
Yeah.
the Radiator Place and Scout Park, I guess.
Yeah,
Right,
And then
Okay.
everything on the west side stays in as well.
okay, so you want Scout Park and Elburn Radiator in?
Yep.
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. Now, everything along Main Street or 47, we wanted only externally illuminated signs. And we still have that thing with the bank with the illuminated letters. Are we still talking on, you know, like the Schramer Insurance and all of that? Those are just little spotlighted signs which are turned off at night, as opposed to an self-illuminated or internally illuminated.
my understanding with that bank light is that pre-existed or existed prior to the adoption of the ordinance, downtown sign ordinance in '09. And so that
Yeah.
was allowed to continue.
Yeah. Yeah. But everything else, like, Schmidt's sign and everybody's signs otherwise are,
Right.
little spotlighted signs, so you don't have looking something like Vegas Strip or something.
Well, and we did, the board approved 2 variances. One was for, what's the collision center, but we
Right,
have
caliber.
taken care of that for the colors. And then the other variance, well, there's a couple of them, but one of the other variances, one of the big ones that's internally lit, or at least backlit, was for obscurity.
You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, again, that's off Main Street, that's-
It is off Main Street, but it is in the downtown district.
yeah.
And, and I would encourage that that area stays in. If we get some other businesses that decide to pop up down that way, we've got greater control over what those signs would look like. And if they want to come
Mhm.
through, they've got a great idea and they want to come through for a variance, then
Sure.
yeah, so let's get them through the process and let's see what they've got and get them through the process.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. That sounds perfect.
And
Yeah,
it
I think
depends
if
what,
anything's gonna develop, it's gonna be that way before it comes back towards First Street.
oh, yeah. If the co-op ever leaves, and I don't think they're gonna leave until, as long as that spur is there. But if that spur ever gets abandoned, then, that'll mean the co-op's putting everything over onto Meredith Road. But the
Right.
spur is really kind of a critical issue.
Well, it's my
So-
understanding right now, obscurity owns the land that the spur is on. I don't know if the UP has rights to it, but obscurity now owns that.
Yeah, there has to be the railroad, federal FRA has to actually have an action to abandon a spur by the owner. So I don't know if obscurity just has a lease on that or not, but.
Well, yeah, they own the
have to-
property. I don't know about a lease on the spur.
Yeah,
They
I'll
own the-
I'll figure that out. That's,
Yeah, that's an
Looking-
issue because it impedes the development of North Street with the co-op there and a spur, which is still used.
well, we'll see what the future holds for us there. I know that
Oh, yeah.
Luke's working very hard to do a lot in that area, so we'll see what he comes.
Yeah,
Sure
no,
is.
that's the exciting part, that development of that area. That's a big hunk of area.
Yep.
With the forest reserve right there too, so it's a prime spot to
For sure.
have that. whole
Okay,
thing.
so then, John, you'll take this back and redraw it and then bring it back to the board meeting for approval to the next board meeting.
Yes.
All right.
And then once it's
Anybody
approved,
else have any comments on amending the sign ordinance?
Uh,
and once
All
it's
right, then.
approved, I'll ask Julie and EEI to draw me
Uh-oh.
Amber Alert.
Amber alert?
Yeah.
Everybody's phone's going off.
Bridgeview. So I'll ask Julia to draw us a proper map, but at the next meeting, you'll have one of my crayon drawings.
Okay. All right, then, next discussion is on the Village Hall sign.
Yes, and it's going off again.
Everybody's phone's blowing up.
Okay,
Amber
so
Alert.
for the biggest decision of the night, the memo is just slightly updated from last time with the prices and with the sign people. And there was 4 signs that people liked. And so the first one, which you can't see, it looks like an ocean now. Sorry. Let's see if I can get that in there.
Mhm.
That one had the tall blue one, had the roof line that looked like Village Hall, and then had the, let's see, I don't know, you guys getting that? It's fading in and out on me. So,
I'm gonna see if I can share it, but, oh no, you've disabled sharing for us.
yeah, I can't trust you people.
I don't blame you. I'm very not trustworthy, that's for
So
sure.
you'll get a look at here. How's that?
Better.
We've got pictures.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to get them up there. And so the choice is 1, 2, 3, or 4. And I realize that, this is narrowed down from the number of signs that you saw last time, but perhaps we could vote on one and come to a decision tonight on which one you would like.
Can we all hold our sign up?
Okay, everybody hold your pictures up. We'll see what everybody likes. All right, Matt, I can see likes the, was that number 1?
Okay,
Chris is
Chris.
on number 3. Pat is on number 2. So we got one for each. No, wait, Pat's on number 4, right? Yep. All right, are you writing this down, John? You want me to write it down?
Well, if everybody would hold it up, then we can go ahead and eliminate signs that don't get a vote.
Okay.
Right now, Mr. Anderson's not participating.
No, he doesn't have.
I'm not in love with this one, but it's the least obnoxious one.
Yeah, I'm with Sue and Chris. I don't have a printout. I'm looking at it on my screen, but I'm with Sue and Chris. Ken, where are you at?
Yeah. Two I like, but
Can't see that
Yeah, we can't see it, Ken. Oh, now you're showing a picture of a.
of the contract.
Okay, he's with Sue
Okay.
and Chris and I. Got it.
these things are huge. I mean, the objection I have is they're kind of overwhelming, with 10-foot high.
Yeah, and there was one thing that once we had picked out a sign, I would go back to the sign maker and
Scale
have
it
them
down.
scale it down, keep the same look and feel of it, but scale the sign down to a more appropriate sign. Probably more along the lines of 6 to 7 foot instead of the 10 foot for that one. Or actually the one is 11.6.
Yeah, and we had talked about adding police department and administration on the bottom underneath Village of Elburn too, on that one.
Yeah, I would go with Village Hall and Police Department, something along
Yeah,
those
whatever.
lines.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Something that people know that it's the main place to go.
Right.
Yeah, until we get a separate police station, we're gonna have to have both of them there. But
Pat,
yeah,
we're
still
talking on
in the
mute. I can
town.
see your mouth is going, but you're on mute, Pat. There you go.
I've often been said that my mouth is going
I'm like,
without
I can
something
see your
coming
lips
out.
moving, but I don't hear anything.
So I have a question about the sign that's commonly liked, the one with the people on it. Can the image of people be replaced by messages, or are the people, is that part of
I believe that's the
metallic
message.
design or something?
That's the message board, just to show something in the message board.
Okay,
This would be a full color message board.
So
Okay.
you'd be able to put your drive sober, get pulled over, or whatever message in there.
Click it, ticket.
Boy Scouts popcorn sale next week.
Yeah.
okay. Movies in the park, or
Yes.
Veterans Day, or Tree City, USA.
Yep.
Yeah.
Matt
like that.
Has new beer on tap,
Well,
All
I am
right.
fine with that one.
I think you got some direction here.
I do. All right, sounds real good. I got what I need.
All right, any other business to come before the committee of the whole? Do I have a motion to adjourn? Moved by trustee Mondi, second.
I will second.
Second by trustee Firelink. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all for a good night's work. Welcome back to Zoom. Hopefully it won't be too long. We'll see you all again at Village Hall, but for now, we'll see each other in the movies.
Look for yourself
well.
on YouTube.
Okay, bye.